Hello and welcome to Pina Therapy. It's just basically knitting and nature and how that kind of keeps us all sane is the summary of what this podcast is. It's been a really long time. I do apologise. There has been lots and lots of reasons for why it has been so long. And I actually did a podcast last week or the week before, and then I went to go and post it last week, and for some reason it got cut in a really weird place, and then the original disappeared, so it went a bit tits up. So I was like, do you know what, I'm just gonna do it again because I've got some free headspace and house space. So I was like, I'm just going to do it again. So here I am. I'm Sarah, by the way. I'm in the UK. I'm in the kind of southwest, in a beautiful, beautiful place called the Forest of Dean. We're about a 10-minute drive from the border of Wales. Yeah, I live in a little house that literally goes out onto the forest with my husband and my 11-year-old daughter. And she's coming to join us. Come in. You're going to come say hi. And Cybill, if you can see her. Our little miniature English Bull Terrier called Cybill. So, let's adjust you a little bit. I don't know if you can see her any better. But she's going to come and sit with me. She's feeling a bit sad. She's been having a phantom pregnancy. Yes, I know I'm talking about you. Ugh. She's been having phantom pregnancy, and now DADDY, I'm not going to say it, is away for a little while working. So we literally looked out at the window as he left at 6 this morning. She cried. Anyway, enough said, because I have so much to get through. I think what I've decided to do, after realising what I essentially am doing this podcast again, I know you stole the last podcast, so can you be better on this one? I know I'm talking to myself and it's weird, but okay. Can you hear the noise? It's like an inward breath. When she was a puppy, she made it spontaneous. I'm not even going to try to say that word because this is just going to be the beginning of the end. But she did it sporadically on her own, and then we kind of trained it as a way of her asking nicely. If she wanted to come onto the sofa, then we'd say ask nicely, and she'd do the noise. So this is her please noise, but she just uses it for everything. If she wants like a blanket on because she's cold, or she's lying in front of the fire and she wants it to be hotter, all the things basically. So if you hear her making that noise, it's just because she's like, love me. Anyway, what I was saying is I've decided I'm going to do 2 podcasts to try and get ahead of myself and such forth. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a historical object, a hoe, but I'm going to keep this one as a acquisitions podcast and future plans, because I have, it's been a long time, maybe 2 months. I've acquired more than maybe I should have in that time, but knitter's gonna knit, and that means buying yarn, and we're not going to talk about how massive my stash is now. So life updates are kind of crazy, so I don't even know where to start, and I've realized this is kind of on the wonk, but do you know what, I'm here and I'm doing it, so you're just gonna have to deal with maybe me on the wonk a bit. Life updates are too long to even go into, and I even started notes in my book here to say what has been going on, but this is like out of date by about a month. So my daughter's had a lot going on. She's at the end of primary and then going into secondary in September, so she's had a lot going on. Like a month ago she had end of year exams. She also had an induction week, which is great that her secondary school do a whole week induction week, but it was also during this ridiculous heat wave where we nearly got up to 40 around here. And if you go back to some of my I think, first podcast, I might explain a bit more. She had a heart transplant in 2022. So there are some things that we have to take into account for Evie during hot weather and heat waves, and it meant that she couldn't be in the whole time. We kind of juggled trying to have her in as much as possible so she didn't lose out or miss out, but then having to be kind of health conscious for her, and it was a whole thing. We also had one of her regular appointments during the last however long it's been, down at Great Ormond Street. So that requires an overnight visit. She gets we all get quite preemptive about it because it's a checkup and it's just checking everything okay. It is. We love boring appointments where everything's fine, which is great. So we've had that. Oh, she's now moving off the sofa. Yes, but one of the things I did do though in the last month, which I will talk about a bit more later, is I went to the second year of the Big Flock. And I'll show you what I found at that. So other than that, I have been knitting. It has been really quite warm. We've had 2 heat waves already, predicted another one, but I think this is just going to become the norm. So for the first time this year, I have been using cotton. I say first time, I did use cotton previously. It's really weird when you think back to how your journey of knitting began, and I was really kind of random actually when I think back now about what I created and knitted in my first couple of years of knitting, and I didn't gauge watch for anything. I don't think so anyway. And just the random things I knit because you're just exploring kind of the art form. I knit with all kinds of wool, and anyway, so I did make a jumper out of cotton, and I got like a budget cotton from, I think it was Knit Picks at the time, and I made a Rowan. It was really nice. I should remake it really. Rowan stripy jumper, but it wasn't right, and I never I think I wore it once, and blah blah blah. Anyway, and I remember it kind of hurting my hands a bit. I probably knit it on too small of a needle, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't knit with cotton since then. So yeah, this summer is the first kind of deep dive into knitting with cotton or cotton blends that I have done. Right, I'm going to get in all the other thing. She says, right, I'm going to get into, wait. The other thing is this time of year is I'm a keen gardener. And so the garden starts to take over from about spring, till whenever. It's just any moment that I get here, or a couple of hours that I get here, you're kind of doing things in the garden, keeping on top of weeds. And I not only have my own gardens, I also use a lady's down the end of our little lane, which I haven't done as well as I should have this year, but things have been the way they have, and that is fine. So I give myself work to do, and anyway. But so these are just some things that I pulled out the garden this morning in my little brown jar that I keep up here. Pretty. So there we go. Let's get in stuff. You're going to see like random wall stuff everywhere, and I'm going to try and be orderly about this. Don't know how that's going to go. Let's do my hoe first, because I always start with a hoe, my historical object, which is behind me. This is my hoe. Now I've just realised that I'm getting my hoe without getting up exactly what it is. I know it's a Hohi Locatelli shawl. Just bear with. Right, okay. So it's Hohi Locatelli Pure Joy. And I think it was another one of these things when I first started making things and then doing podcasts. These were the kind of things. There was like the featherweight cardigan. What is it? The sock head hat, I think it was called. I've got a few of those. It's kind of things that go around, don't they? She has some beautiful shawls. So this was the first ever shawl I knit, and I made it out. And again, I pick black. I mean, the contrast is fab, but like nobody told me about the black thing, and I don't remember having any particular problems. Although I know when I got to like near the end of this, it was not correct. And actually, when I finished this, I did not like it, and I was going to put it away, or I was going to frog it. And this took me a while because this was my first like proper shawl that I made. So obviously you've got these kind of come from a point here. I actually can't remember anything about the construction. I am not going to lie. This is a speckled yarn here. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of like a grey off white. And then grey speckled, yellow, blue, bit of purple. Don't know if you can see there or not. So yeah, it is really quite long. I don't remember anything about the construction. I'm not going to lie and tell you anything different. I'm not going to sit here and look at the pattern because you can all kind of look at the brief overview if you want. But it kind of goes like this. You have the border at the bottom and it's just long and long. Right, when I finished this, and maybe this is, I thought this is a recent thing, but maybe it's not. Maybe this is my process, that I make things and then I don't like the thing. So I remember making this, finishing it, and wanting to just get rid. And my husband, one of the few times that he's been like, no, I am telling you not to. Block it out, keep it, see how you feel about it in a couple of weeks. And he was right. He's not here. This is my most worn item. This is maybe one of my hats. This is my workhorse shawl. I don't wear these like a shawl because I am not a lady in terms of I don't wear it over my shoulders or anything like that. I'm not that kind of gal. I love a scarf. I love things around my neck at all times. I feel very exposed if I don't have anything around my neck. So this time of year is a bit of a ball ache for me, really. Especially because I haven't made a little scarf. I don't know why I haven't made a little scarf yet. It seems ridiculous to me. But anyway, so these, I just wear it like a scarf. So it just goes around twice. Yoink. It's too warm to be doing this. Yoink. Like this. And this is my workhorse. This goes to work with me. It is the one I wear in the gardens, on dog walks, where I'm gonna get a bit hot and bothered maybe, or whatever, you know. Yoink. Done. It's here. It is super squishy because it's garter stitch. Checking it is garter stitch and just some eyelets, some yarn overs. It is just lovely. It needs a wash. Has anyone else not washed and put away the woolies yet? Because I haven't. So yeah, this is my historical object. It's a lovely pattern if you knit it right. Even if you don't knit it right, still nice. And yeah, something that I did not want to keep and was really disappointed about has become my most worn item. So sometimes I think maybe I should make this again, try and do it properly, and do another one, because it is a nice way of using like two skeins of something high contrast, really nice. Maybe do some brighter colors, probably not. But yeah, so that's my hoe for you that needs to have a wash and a dry. So just let me take a sip of this a minute. I know, just spilled my coffee. Okay, we're okay. So next lot of acquisitions, and actually in my head I'm like, this isn't necessarily acquisitions, because there was a lovely lady in one of the towns, it's like the biggest town that's closest to us. She used to own a yarn shop in the town a long, long time ago. They used to come to Wonderwall apparently every year and have a stall there. She hasn't had it for a long time, and she had lost her parents in the last couple of years, and this and the other. We had a really good old chat about how knitting has kind of kept us sane and gives you a lovely community of people. She was destashing basically, to the point where she has got a lot, and she was pulling it out of all these units of storage and things like that. And she put a thing on Facebook and to come and I saw there was wool, so obviously I'm there. So the first thing I'm going to show you, actually, because it relates to this bright thing behind me, and this is not mine. So this was, I don't think I showed it, but I maybe put a picture in. Look, it, sun is blowing out a bit, but I don't know. That's a bit better. This is my daughter's hat. This is not my hat, because just no. This is a hat, and I can't remember what it's called, by Pearl Soho. It's a free pattern. It's an Aran weight hat. When she wears it, she gets this little like boop like this, which I guess you do get. Put it down enough, but it's got a lovely big brim, and it's not usually the weight of wool that I make a hat in, because when I'm usually in a hat and then I'm outside, I'm walking or gardening or doing some sort of manual labor, moving my body. So, and I get hot really quick. So having an Aran weight hat is a recipe for disaster, because I will just get the sweatiest head in the world, and nobody will be enjoying that, at least of all me. So I only ever really make myself fingering weight hats, DK occasionally, depending on how heavy the DK is. Anyway, so my first one that I got, which was a real, I'm dropping on the wall, which was a real steal. Oh, this one keeps coming undone. So this is West Yorkshire Spinners Croft Shetland Tweed. I'm sure everybody knows about this. It is an Aran weight yarn. It should be, I don't actually know how much this retails for, but I got it for £5. I got these for £10, which is an absolute steal, and they've not been used. Yes, everything's kind of been in storage, so it's a little bit musty, but you give it a good soak after you've made something, or before you've made something, up to you, and it's absolutely fine. This is stuff that I've heard people talking about a while ago. It's 100% Shetland Island wool, and I haven't tried, but anyway, so it's 100-gram skein, whatever you want to say, 166 meters, 182 yards. It's Aran, so it suggests a 5mm needle. I'm assuming that's what I made this on. I don't know. So this is going to be a hat. As much as I've just said, I need to have fingering or DK weight. My day job is working in a nursery, and I'm lucky that the way we're set up is I'm outside a lot of the time, which is my happy, safe space, and I like to be outside. And for anyone who has children, you'll know, and if you don't know, being outside with children is so much easier than being inside with children. So, although I'm quite active outside with the children, there is still a lot of, like, I'm not walking constantly and this, that, and the other, and I will get cold. And since, which is more my feet actually, but I have woolly socks I make all the time for that. But since everything's happened to our daughter, and I've been quite poorly afterwards, and I've had burnout quite a few times, and I don't know what I'm carrying, if I'm carrying occasionally something underlying like an autoimmune or something. They can never catch it on bloods, because by the time you get bloods, you're kind of on the way up again. But I have developed Raynaud's in my hands, so where your hands kind of, the circulation goes, and they go white at the end and quite painful. As long as I keep moving and keep warm, it's fine. But if it is cold and you're outside most of the day, then you've got to find ways to keep you warm. So my logic is make myself a thicker hat. because that is a situation that I need a thicker hat. And this is wonderful, wonderful yarn. It's not really scratchy, it's soft enough, but I think it will make a really squishy, lovely hat. I don't have any blue hats. Blue is not this kind of... I was going to have a blue jumper, but then it was too small and I finished it and gave it to my daughter. So I don't have any blue knitted things really, although I could be lying to you. So yes, this is going to be a hat for moi. Maybe not this exact pattern, but similar pattern. So yeah. But I'm not knitting. I'll wait till it gets to autumn, I think, to start knitting that, because it will knit up quick, you know, as long as I'm not missing anything else. The next ones are actually part of a project, but I'm not going to show you projects today because it will take too long. I will just show you the yarn, but know that this yarn has been used already, which I don't feel so bad about. And obviously it's destashing, so it's not technically me acquiring brand new yarn. I'm helping a sister out. So I'm making a t-shirt with it. I have one ball with the band on. Now this is kind of the situation. Obviously they've been in storage for a long time, and this isn't even the worst one. So when I went to cast on, I actually couldn't cast on that day because I had to deal with so much yarn vomit. Anyway, this is, if you hear shouting, it's my neighbour on his roof. Don't ask. So it's Stylecraft. It's Stylecraft Naturals, and it's bamboo and cotton. Obviously a cotton blend. I actually knit some socks in the summer while my dad was poorly. I'll have to show them maybe next time. That was a bamboo blend for socks that I'd not knit with before, and I actually got that yarn and started those socks like a year before, and I didn't like it on my hands when I was knitting it. I think maybe that also put me off, like, not wool yarns. Pardon me. But actually I knit them up while my dad was poorly, and they're really lovely socks. They're lovely at this time of year. They're a bit less sweaty on my feet, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so bamboo cotton, gonna be a t-shirt. I'll tell you about the pattern and stuff next time. It's 100 gram. Ball, they advise a 3.5 millimeter US 4, I think. Is that? No, US 6. Blah blah blah. 250 meters. Which is really that's quite a lot actually for 100 grams. And this says it's DK weight, and I would beg to differ because it's 22 stitches, 28 rows, but actually knitting with it, it's more like a fingering, but a plumper fingering. So I don't know, but this color I have is espresso, and then the other, and she literally had 2 balls of this and a ball of this, which I'm a little bit worried I'm going to be playing yarn chicken with, but this is called umber, I think. So this is what, it's not very summery, but they're kind of my colors. So I'm making a t-shirt out of those, which is very nice. Bear with. I'm going to have one more sip. I feel like I'm getting a headache just from telling you about all this wool and the pressure of like hiding it in places and justifying to myself that I'm going to make something with it in a minute. And it's fine, isn't it? It's fine. I could have worse problems, couldn't I? Right. Next is... So, do you reckon that's a cone and a half? Cone and a half? Yes. I reckon it's a cone and a half. Cone and a half. If you're in the UK, and if you're not, you will know there's different ways of saying words. I was born and bred Surrey, and we moved here when I was about 10 or 11. When we moved here, I said all those words like path, fast, bath, and that is how I spoke. And then here it's very West Country, and you're kind of close to Bristol as well. And so all those things get said fast, path, bath. And I changed quickly because people took the piss out of me and how I said things. And it angers my mum. And I can hear it when I talk. Sometimes I think, oh yeah, I could say that a bit better. It's like when I went on a hen weekend where I got some more to Bath. You probably should say it Bath. But there's me saying it Bath, which doesn't sound. Anyway, back to the wall. So you can, oh, there, it looks so pretty. So you can see it's like a dark purple base, and the colours are, the bits of nep in it are beautiful. You've got like really vibrant, like amethyst kind of purple. There's red and pink and yellow and green. It looks really lovely. It is super thin. I'm assuming this is lace weight, which I've not knit with before. You can see how kind of, I don't know if you can, how thin it is. I'm assuming this is enough for me to make a jumper. I don't know. I don't really want to hold it double. I was thinking, and I said to my sister-in-law, maybe I should get like a plain mohair, hold it with that and see if you can see enough of all the different colours if it's paired with the mohair, although I'm not entirely sure that I love mohair. But I don't know, but I'll swatch at some point and see what I think. But if you've got any ideas what I could do with this, it's not the softest, so that's why I want to make it into a jumper that I'll wear over like long sleeved top or a t-shirt. But yeah, I want to use all of it if I can. I initially thought my daughter, but it's too scratchy for her. And actually, I love this and the purple, and it's quite dark actually. And I want to keep the depths of colour, so I don't know if putting it with the mohair, but I'll have an experiment. I'll see. I'll have to buy more yarn. So that was very nice. And then the last thing made me a bit emotional. When I did this podcast before, I got a bit emotional, so I'm going to try not to. Anyway, long story short, this relates to my daughter and her heart transplant. So she had a heart transplant in April 2022. So every year on that day, we call her heartiversary. And as a sign of remembering that beautiful gift and welcoming in another new year of her new beginning and all of our new beginning as a family, we decided to do a sunrise walk. She picked May Hill, which is the highest point in the forest where we are. You can see kind of on a good day, you can see over to the Black Mountains in Wales and all around, and it's beautiful. And on top of this hill is like a crop of trees that were planted, all the original trees that have been bits added to it, were originally planted for Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. I've read it 1,000 times, but could I tell you now? No. And they usually have cows and ponies roaming up there. They have beautiful belted galloways. I love cows. If you know the cow, you know the cow. Anyway, so that's what we do every year. We walk up there, do a sunrise walk, so we're up there really early. So when I was talking to this lady and we were talking about things keeping us sane, this, that and the other, I'd gathered a load of things in my arms to buy from her. She just happened to say to me, give me this ball of yarn, and said, I'll just have this for free, just, you know, because you're getting this wool and have this as well. She's just obviously trying to move things on. And this is Gotland wool, but it's Gotland wool from May Hill. So from the surrounding farm on May Hill's land, yeah, Gotland sheep. And this is, I weighed it, and it's 100 gram skein. it's DK weight, and it's proper wool, although it actually feels really very soft. So it's really very tightly wound, which kind of worries me a little bit because it's obviously been like this for a while. But my plan is to make some nice boot socks. So even though it's April, like towards the end of April, her heart anniversary, it's still very chilly because we're getting up at like 4:30 to be up there for sunrise. So it's really quite cold still, actually. And you get up there and there's wind blowing. So, oh God, she's going to jump on all my stuff. Hello. No, you can't have that. Thank you. Okay. Hi. Oh, you come say hello to everybody. Okay. Thank you. No. She runs off with my wool, then I'll be gone. So anyway, that's what I'm planning to do with these, is to make them into boot socks that I can wear on that day every year to walk up, to have the sunrise walk with my daughter and the dog she comes to. So yeah, really, really lovely lady. She didn't know what this meant to me when she gave it. It was just one of those moments in life that you're like, wow, okay. That was a whole thing, and she didn't know. And so really, really lovely. The kindness of people that you don't know and they have no idea about you, and when it just collides. Right, it's half an hour. Thank you for sticking with me. If you're still with me, that is that. Let's march on, people. Next thing I went to was this hen weekend in Bath, and my beautiful friend had planned it so wonderfully in terms of, we were there Friday night, the Sunday. Yes, I know I'm talking. Okay, can I do it for a bit longer, please? Is that okay? Okay. So the Saturday, after the Saturday morning, really, until kind of the afternoon, everyone was free to have space if they needed space and all the rest of it. She's a keen runner, so she went off with some of her running friends and did park run, if you know what that is. I got up nice and early and I went walking. I went down to the river and things like that, which is beautiful. I also went over to the botanical gardens, and if you're ever in Bath and you want to go to a beautiful, beautiful, tranquil, lovely, go to the botanical gardens. It is beautiful, absolutely stunning. But it's really lovely this time of year as well, and it was beautiful when I was there in the spring. But I then came back, had a bit of breakfast with everybody, and then everyone kind of went off and did their thing. So I went off to some wool shops. Actually, halfway between, I met everyone for a coffee and was a bit social, and then went back to the yarn shops. So the two main yarn shops I went to in Bath, which I'm sure lots of people will know, there's a Yarn Story, and then there's a really beautiful, they're both beautiful, shop called Wool, just called Wool, and it's tucked away. Find it on Google Maps, but the staff and everything were absolutely wonderful. Sorry for any crinkling. Bag with wool. Now, what I'm going to say, and this is no judgment on anyone, anything, there is space for everyone in this community. I have said before that I am a budget knitter. For example, I have finished a top in DK cotton blend wool, classic drop spell, because I can't afford, or I can't justify spending money on the Sanders Garn Line instead of drop spell. Okay, so that's the budget that I'm working with. The only thing I would say is that a Yarn Story is maybe more high end than maybe some people are willing to pay, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to show you, I did get something from both, of course I did, but I want to show you first. So I went to Wool, the shop Wool, and there was so much, you know, when you walk in, you're like, I'm completely overwhelmed. I had no plans for anything. I just wanted to go have a look. knowing I'm going to buy something. But I didn't want to get a completely random skein and then it just sit for years and years in my stash, which a lot of them do. I know they'll get used eventually, but you're kind of... I was really impressed at how much of the wool they had in there was British, like grown, shorn, processed, everything. There was a good kind of bracket for your budget, so whether you're, you know, a bit more budgety like me or you want to spend a bit more, there was space for everybody. So anyway, I'm going to show you what I got. This is what I got. Everyone knows this Manos del Uruguay brand. Now, it looks like a random skein. What? Actually, I've got this already. So, I think I have. Or maybe I don't anymore. No, I'm pretty sure I do, because I get it out every so often. I caked it up to make it into something. I think I was going to make a hat for my husband, and then I went, no, it's too good for his head, so I'm not doing it. So I sort of frogged, and I hadn't done much. And I've had that one skein caked in my yarn stash for years, and I haven't known what to do with it, because I kind of have enough hats really in a way, and it's so soft and lovely. It needs to be made into a garment really. So my thinking was, and I picked up lots of skeins of yarn, I picked up stuff for my daughter and this and the other, and I thought, no, if I get a second skein, and I love the colours on this are just beautiful, and these are my kind of, these in here, these are just sing to me. So my logic was, I get this, and then I've got 2 skeins of this, so I will have 200 grams, so it's 405 meters, which is kind of bog standard for 100 grams of fingering weight. So I'll have 810 meters, which is a good amount to maybe use with another contrast color or whatever for some sort of cardigan or jumper or sweater, or lightweight sweater. So that was my logic. But it's beautiful, it's beautiful. One last look at the beautiful, beautiful colours. I'll show you it caked up another time when I actually go to make a project. That was from wool. Then I went to a yarn story, and it's beautiful in there, and you can get wool that you only see on like podcasts and things, in my head anyway, like a lot of foreign, American, Canadian kind of wool and stuff, which is lovely. I went for some of this. I think most people know this brand. It's called Løvfald. I think they're a Danish company, or it's Danish made. This is again a fingering weight yarn. This is 60% merino wool, 40% baby alpaca. So I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see here above my fringe, there's a bit of fuzz, but it's not fuzzy, if you know what I mean. It's got 2.5 to 3 mil, which you'd expect for fingering weight. There's 200 meters in a 50 gram ball, which is kind of what you'd expect for fingering weight. I just loved this green, and this is showing up pretty much as it is. Maybe this one is a bit more accurate, I don't know. No, there is a bit of like, you know, almost like there's like a yellow undertone. You can see like a mustardy yellow. It's just lovely. This is going to be a hat, I hope. Although the 40% baby alpaca, is that going to hold, like, is that going to stretch out too much with the ribs? I like a long brim, folded brim. So let me know if you think it's going to hold, or actually is it not going to hold a rib very well. I don't know. Can't decide, but that is what I got it for. Hat. Fingering weight. Bog standard hat. I don't have anything in this colour. That's always my reasoning. Eventually I'll get to something with all the colours and then I'll have no reasoning. But yes, hat for moi. Okay. It's a little bit much, isn't it? I actually want to show you something really quickly. I know I wasn't going to show you any projects, but I have to give this project as a gift. in like 2 days time. So just when I'm thinking about it, I want to show you because it's super cute. And I'm making it out of cotton yarn. It's my little niece. She's going to be 2, and she has a book that she loves. It's about this rabbit, and in the back of the book, it had a pattern to make the rabbit, although the knitted rabbit doesn't look hugely like obviously the graphic picture in the book. So I hope she's not really disappointed. 2-year-olds they can damage you with their opinions. So it's made out of Drops Paris, which is 100% cotton. This color is called recycled denim. That's making it look brighter than it is, because it's not really that bright. It looks like recycled denim. So it's DK. Oh my gosh. DK 5mm needle, 50 grams, 75 meters, 100% cotton. It feels like 100% cotton. Not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of how this feels. This is like hand hurting cotton. I mean, it feels fine, but I don't think I would make myself anything with this. She says, you watch this space. So anyway, it's a bunny. He's not finished yet, so don't judge him too much. And he hasn't got a face or anything. He's only got one arm. I've obviously got to get a move on. But this is where I'm at. Okay, it's one little arm. And he comes with a little blanket and a little satchel. So he will have a little face here. And he's got these pretty little garter ears. They're really long. I mean, he will have some legs. And he has little yeah. This is going to be for my niece. For her birthday. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that before I forget. Very cute. I have to hide it because if the dog sees it, she will steal it. So it has to be hidden. So next haul. I did also want to show you. I have been swatching like, I don't know, not like myself. Loads of swatches, because I figured I was just desperate to cast on all the things in cotton, so I just did DK and fingering weight, and then fingering weight held double, and then I used literally the cardboard from an old red pepper hummus to make little tags, so I know what needle it was, what yarn it was, and what stitches per 4 inches I was getting. So then if I want to make something, I just have a look, have a guesstimate from these, then cast it on. Which is probably actually a more dangerous thing to do than not swatching. Anyway, there's also this one. I don't know if I should show you this. I'm going to show you just because it's part of the swatch, but this is something I'm really excited to cast on, but I've had to enter into a copyright dispute with my daughter about the colours, which I'll explain to you next podcast, because yeah. But look at this swatch. Just with the colours. I mean, it's Eastery, but it's also summery, isn't it? Oh, and the drape and the beautifulness. But anyway, more to come. Next lot of yarn. Just before I show you the yarn that I have, I'm also going to show you, I also got these from there. First of all, is there anyone else out there who does things to... I'm nearly 40, by the way. And I do things still to, in the best way, disappoint my parents. Because it makes me laugh. It usually makes my dad laugh as well, to be fair. And it makes my mum kind of, oh, don't do that. And that's what makes me giggle, is my mum's kind of slight disappointment. Which is very bizarre, but anyway. It's kind of people we are, people I am. So there's a rule. Me and my sister-in-law kind of have a rule when we go to wool festivals. We say we need to do a sweep of everything first. Usually there will be a half sweep, stop for coffee because we're ridiculously overwhelmed, then go again, and then you get to go back and decide what you're getting for a project or this, that and the other. And we try to go with projects in mind, although I 100% know I'm going to get at least one bonus skein, whatever, because I can't not. These aren't technically wool, so I think I can get away with this, but this was the first stall. The first stall as we walked in, and I saw these, and there was only a few on the hook, and I said to my sister-in-law that I cannot leave these, because if they are not here when I come back around, I'm going to be so annoyed that I didn't get them. So I broke my rule on the first stall, but you know, it's not wool, so I think it's okay. But these are by, oh my gosh, they got caught up. I'm not going to be able to show them properly, but whatever. By a guy called Tom Dyson. His lovely wife was there helping him sell. He makes all these, he makes buttons and toggles and like measuring things and like sock blockers and gauge swatch things, everything. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But I got these because of what they say. These are stitch markers, and they're rude stitch markers. So I don't know if you can see any of these and what they say. No. The one that my mum would say all the time as a child, that we weren't allowed to swear in my house at all, ever. And this, if something happened, the one word that would slip out of her mouth that became synonymous with my mum, that we all giggle at still if she says, is this one. I don't know if you can see it, but it says bugger. Yeah, but they, you know, you've got ones that says arse, bullshit, for fuck's sake, wank, fuck. So yeah, and do you know what? I defy anyone not to have thought or said one of these things when they are knitting, and you're just like, oh God. So I thought, you know what, these are going to be great to stick on the knitting when I'm literally thinking, oh balls, I've got to do like this much stockinette, even though we love stockinette stitch at the same time, you know, just round and round knitting. But yeah, really good. Go look them up, tomdyson.com. Really, really, really beautiful things. Got that. Also, I'm sure loads of people know this lovely lady, Cozy 20s. So she makes custom crochet hooks. So you kind of go and you put all these, it's like rubbery beads and stuff that you put on to make hooks. And last year she had a box of like, they're also like, you know, like stitch stoppers you put on the top of needles. And I looked, there was those doggies, and I was like, oh, she doesn't have my dog, because it's not a very common dog. And then I thought, you know what, I'll have a look this year and see if she does or she don't. Literally one of the first ones I picked up was an English Bull Terrier. And so I found another one and I had to have them. So these I will use just as stitch stoppers on the end of needles. But yeah, the little Cybill. And actually her brother, oh no, he doesn't have, it's a black ear. But anyway, whatever. They're bully stitch stoppers, so had to have those. So I got those from her. And then lastly, I had it in my head I wanted to get toggle. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I want to make, I wear a lot of dungarees. And at this time of year and in like spring and winter, sometimes you put a jumper, so you've got a t-shirt and a jumper underneath the dungarees, but you kind of get too hot. You can't put a jumper over the top of dungarees, because if you need a wee, a disaster will strike. And it just feels weird and it looks weird. So you need a cardigan really. But most of my cardigan, I don't have a lot of cardigans. It's just weird. So long story short, I have one cardigan that I got years ago from a charity shop that is like a cropped cardigan, and it's a 3/4 length sleeve, and it's perfect for wearing with dungarees, or if you're wearing like high-rise jeans and trousers. And I've actually found that kind of combo really suits me, so I should do some more cropped things. So my idea was that I want to do a cream cabled cropped cardigan to wear with dungarees or with like dresses and stuff like that. And so I decided to get some toggles from, sorry if I destroy the name, Lilliput White. So they're beach combs. She finds driftwood and makes buttons and all sorts. She also does some really beautiful sea glass buttons and things as well. So how much? 2, 4, 6, 8. I thought that was because they come in different pack sizes and things, but I obviously want them matching and not too big. So I thought those would be really nice. An 8 I feel like is enough. So I got those as well, with the intention of them going on a project. Nice. Okay, we're nearly there, people. Just one lot of wool to go, and I think this is going to be cold. Okay, we're nearly there. And then tomorrow I'm going to film a podcast about projects. Oh, it feels so nice to be talking to myself, but to you guys again about this. So, I am going to tell you about this lot of yarn. What am I going to tell you about first? This one, and I feel really bad because I actually can't remember the stall and where the wool was made. If I can remember, I'll show it again tomorrow. I'll ask my sister-in-law if she remembers. But it was like, oh, I can't even remember. But it's like some random European country where they still make all the wool and stuff on traditional, like, centuries old machines and this, that and the other. It's proper wool. It is. It's not scratchy, but I don't think you'd want to wear it next to your skin. Well, you could. It just depends who you are. Anyway, I really love the wool. It was very reasonably priced. It was a little, it wasn't, you know, just your average kind of indie dyed, and not that there isn't space for that, but I just felt like, you know what, I want to get something from this lady, so I'm going to get something from her. And the colour isn't quite there, it's not too bad. I feel like it's more plummy than it's showing up there though. I had in my head purple, which is funny because actually the purple I kind of want to make a jumper for myself is more lilac, and when I was younger, lilac and purple, like, had a lilac room and stuff, so kind of going full circle again from when I was like teenager. That's what I was looking for, but I didn't find that, and really I want that as a jumper. But I don't know why I really like this, and actually this isn't a, I feel like there's been a story recently by the Manchester Wool Shop guy who was saying that actually this kind of colour is not a very popular colour. Like, you either are a purple person and you like all the purple, or this isn't really the colour that goes. But the plan I have for this, it's fingering. I can't remember how much. I think it's just over 100 grams. It's a bit, maybe 150 grams ish. It's proper wool. I really wanted to make myself, and didn't last year. I made lots of other people fingerless mitts, didn't make any for myself. So my plan is to make some fingerless mitts with this. I'll obviously have some left over, so maybe make myself some little shorty wool socks, or just some full mitts, I don't know. Yeah, so that's my plan, is to make some fingerless mitts for this, which I think would be quite nice. It's proper sheepy. Next one is so the Big Flock Wool Festival is a new, well, last year was their first year. It's a new festival it's a Bristol-based festival run by the Bristol-based dyers, Bird Street Yarn. If you have never had Bird Street Yarn, why not? Because John, so it's John and Claire, husband and wife. John dyes the yarn, and the colours and the blends they have and stuff are absolutely beautiful. Now, this comes from a person who hasn't actually knit. This is the first skein of yarn that I will have had but I haven't knitted any. So I have two fingering merino based skeins in my stash. One, I believe, is called Stella Bella. Another one is like latte something. I'll get them out another time. So my idea with this, and this is beyond, this is the softest thing I've ever. So this is cacao. This is so it's 4-ply, it's 100 grams, it's 400 meters, it's 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere, and it is just dreamy. It is so nice. The color, again, it's more rich than that is showing up. This is down here is closer to what it's actually like. Really lovely. So the two skeins that I already have, skeins, whatever, are, I think they're both speckled. One's speckled, one's variegated, I think. Oh, I could see, look, this is how long they've been in my stash. I got them in Wonderwall years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. My idea was, again, it looks like another random skein, but it's not. It's so that I can make another shawl. So I've decided I need to make another shawl, scarf. And this is going to be dreamy round the neck. And I'm going to use one of those variegated speckle yarns with this as a solid, because I think that would be beautiful. That's my plan. They, by the way, do an absolutely brilliant job for the festival that they put on. So for a new festival, if anyone wants to go next year. It'll be fab. Last but not least, and it will be last, because even if I find anything else, I'm not showing it because this is already nearly an hour. She's just done a smell. So if you don't know about this lady, get to know her. She is so interesting. Me and my sister-in-law loved listening to her. So Second City Yarns. Second City, she is Birmingham born and bred, I do believe. Well, I mean, Second City, it was for a long time because of the industry that was there. But I mean, ask her. If you want to know anything about Birmingham, go speak to her. I got these from her. These are not going together. So this is just because I make socks all the time and I was wanting to get something for myself. So I was like, I'm just going to get this. I panicked. And I love the green. Again, it's kind of like that hat colour that I wanted. Anyway, just a little bit of context. My dad and his family, my dad grew up in Birmingham, in Birmingham, and his family are from Birmingham. His cousins still live in Birmingham. He grew up in quite a rough, well, between kind of a rough area. He would have to go through a rough area as a kid. So there's a bus service in, and I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, but there's a bus service. I'm just seeing if it's written on here. No, in Birmingham that goes kind of around the whole of Birmingham. And she has done it herself before. Her and her daughter apparently did it. But she has this beautiful wall of colour going from kind of pastels to then darks. And basically each colour is a stop in a place on this bus route, from like, you know, sunrise all the way through to beyond twilight, like dark, after dark, whatever. And so she had this ball. Again, it's kind of making it more, I don't know, it's a little bit more green than maybe that's showing up. This is maybe more kind of how it is. So this is, it's 100% British non-superwash Shetland 4-ply wool. So you get 350 meters per 100 grams. It's not quite as much, but hey ho, it's handmade, dyed in Birmingham, because she obviously does it in Birmingham. But this one is called Handsworth at Dusk, and that is where my dad grew up. That's where he went to school. He went to the grammar school there. And so I was like, where else am I going to get a skein of yarn that has the colourway of Handsworth? So I got this for my dad, to make something for my dad, because it's proper wool. It's not, I was going to make him a hat, but I'm not going to make him a hat with this because it'd probably be too much, and he runs hot as well. Pardon me. So I think I'm going to make, I don't know. My dad last year got very, very poorly. He very selfishly nearly died. How rude of him. So we're eternally grateful to have him with us and doing so well. As a consequence, he had severe acute pancreatitis. So obviously your pancreas sorts out all your insulin. He was type 2 diabetic before he got poorly, but now he's reliant on injectable insulin and blah blah blah. So he now has the kind of problems that can be associated with full-on diabetes. So anyway, hands or feet basically is, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to make him some sort of fingerless mitts. He wouldn't wear full mittens, so I don't know whether that or just some nice warm boot socks, because he is walking and will have to increase his walking still. Walking is very much encouraged by both medical professionals and enforced by my mother. So but I always seem to make him socks, so I don't know. I'll have to ask him, because I'm not sure he's going to wear fingerless mitts, but I'll ask him what he would like me to make him, because maybe that's the best way to do it. But yeah, so I'm going to make something with him with that. This is DK weight, so I'm not sure when I'll use and what I'll use for this, but it's pretty, so I got it anyway. That actually isn't everything that I acquired, but I'm not going to show you anymore, because the others relate to projects really that I will show you next time. It's been like over an hour already, so fair dues if you've survived this long. Thank you very much. I will give you a moment of help and things on the next podcast, which I hope to film tomorrow, that I can release in a couple of weeks, so I kind of getting ahead of myself. But I hope everybody's okay. I hope if you're in the UK you survived last week's heat wave, and we might be in for another one in another week's time. Yep, keep yourself well. Excuse me, enjoy the weather, and hopefully I'll see you in like 2 weeks. Bye.